Well, I'm officially broke now, so if you can send money to my Venmo or OnlyFans account down below, really appreciate it. I mean, what? Welcome back to my show. I'm your host, Rob, chef, chemologist, and alcoholic connoisseur. Well, I'm not actually a chef, I'm not a chemologist. I don't have a show. It's over a moment's house. Over my college years, I've been collecting bottles for fun, and this year I had a lot of time to pick up learning more about spirits and cocktails as a hobby. And this particular bar book I really recommend because it goes into detail about all that. And if you're a connoisseur like me, you know, today I'll be briefly breaking down the different types of spirits and alcohol and doing a taste test for the bottles that I have. I'm definitely gonna regret this decision, but you know, you gotta do it for the peeps, you know, so let's get straight to it. Okay, so there's 10 main types. Let me see if we can name them all. There is beer, there's brandy, there's champagne, there's gin, there's vodka or vodka, there's rum, there's tequila, there's liqueur, there's wine, and there's whiskey. Yes, that is all 10. Okay, we're done here, show's over. But yeah, I'm also gonna include sake and soju in there since I think they're gaining a lot of traction, but I wouldn't really consider them as like globally recognized spirits. First up, we got beer, an easy to consume alcoholic drink, and is most often seen by middle-aged white dads during any tailgating event. Beer is basically made by roasting malted barley. All beer is either considered lagers, Jaegers? No, lagers, lager, wait, lagers. All beer is either considered lagers or ales. Lagers tend to last longer and are easier to consume, while ales tend to be more stronger and have a robust and bitter kick to it. There's also something called craft beer, which is a more complex and flavorful version of a beer, kind of like a high-end beer. Personally, I think that beer just tastes like carbonated water with some booze in it, but I think some of the craft beers, like Yuenling, is pretty good. It has like a coffee-like liquor, so it's kind of like... And I thought Yuenling was an Asian brand, but it's actually a German brand here in America. And yes, I do have Corona here.
We're all gonna die!
No, not the coronavirus. Jeez. Racist. Next up we got brandy. No, not the singer. Brandy is usually made by distilling fermented grapes, but it can also be distilled using other foods, such as apples, like the Laird's Applejack brandy. I think it's also considered a whiskey too. It's like a blend. There's two main types. There's cognac, I don't know, definitely butchering, and Armagnac, and they're only produced in their respective regions. So cognac only comes from Cognac, France, and Armagnac comes from Armagnac, France. It doesn't come from there, it's just considered a different type of brandy. Fun fact, Henny is the most popular bottle that appears in rap music videos. Some bottles have stars or abbreviations indicating how long it's been aged. So like the E&J brandy has XO, so XO means extra old. So like a premium, really, really old brandy, basically. And Henny has VS, very special, which is a minimum of about 2.5 years aged in a barrel. Champagne, often seen during any college graduation or momentous occasion, the embodiment of celebration. It is a classy, sophisticated drink made from the Champagne region of France. Anywhere else is called sparkling wine. The process is that it's made by fermenting specific grapes, and then it's cooled down in underground cellars throughout the winter. Spring comes along, and then it gets bottled up and re-fermented, and that whole re-fermenting produces the gas, which makes the sound whenever you open any champagne bottle. Fun fact, so the champagne glass is modeled after Marie Antoinette's breast, and I'm just gonna leave it at that. Rolling down the street, smoking Indo, sipping on gin and juice, laid back with my mind and my money and my money on my mind. So gin is made by distilling grain or cane and then re-distilled using botanical flavorings such as juniper berries. So it's essentially flavored vodka, which makes it perfect for cocktails such as martini. There's a lot of gin styles. There's like Old Tom gin, there's Plymouth gin, and there's the popular London dry gin. Fun fact, so gin garnered a lot of notoriety during the Prohibition era in the 1920s when alcohol was banned. So a lot of places would low-key make gin because it was cheap and easy to make. Liqueur. And you're like, wait, they just spelled it wrong. Well, no, there is a difference between liqueur and liquor. So liqueur is basically a sweetened spirit infused with other liquors like brandy or gin, and then it's combined with botanicals and maybe even sugary syrup. So some liquors can be enjoyed straight up like the Hypnotic here, and others like the triple sec and the vermouth can be used in cocktails to enhance the flavor. So the first liquor I was exposed to was the Jägermeister, and it was a fun story. My sophomore year of college, I went to Binghamton to visit my friends, and we went to this club called the Rat, and they had this cocktail called the Jaeger Bomb. And the Jaeger Bomb is basically Red Bull with a shot of Jaeger in it. And man, does it wake you up, because let me tell you, I literally could not sleep throughout that whole night. Like, damn. So rum, or the spirit of the islands. Rum is made from distilling fermented sugarcane molasses or sugarcane juice. Christopher Columbus actually introduced sugarcane to the Caribbean in 1493, and the natives there used sugarcane to make what is known as rum. Fun fact, rum is the first commercially distilled spirit in the 13 colonies. My first rum was the Kraken Black Spiced rum, and it's pretty good, but it's not the best mixer. So during quarantine, I went to H Mart and I got the Beef Eater gin and the Bacardi rum, and they are really good mixes. Like, I would always go to Taco Bell, get the Baja Blast, you know, put a little dab of, you know, rum, a lot of dabs, a couple more dabs, a lot of dabs actually. But yeah, it tastes pretty good. And now we reach tequila, and all I can say about tequila is that I'll guarantee you, it'll get you fucked up real bad, like real bad. So tequila originates from Mexico. It is a distillate of the blue agave plant, and the story goes is that Spanish conquistadors brought the distillation process, and a man by the name of Don Jose Maria Guadalupe Cuervo set up a distillery in a place called Tequila, Mexico in 1795 and made what is known as tequila. If you want to shop for the best quality tequilas, make sure that it states their 100% blue agave status. Vodka or vodka, the most clean and neutral or flavorless of all spirits, which is like perfect for cocktails. So historically, vodka is made with potatoes, but recently it's been used with grains. It is distilled and filtrated multiple times to kind of get rid of all the impurities or the flavor of it, to make it as clean or neutral as possible. In other words, flavorless as possible. So vodka didn't actually take off in America until the late 1900s, when a man by the name of John Martin, an employee of Smirnoff, collaborated with the Cock and Bull restaurant owner Jack Morgan to make a cocktail known as the Moscow Mule, which tripled Smirnoff's sales and popularized vodka from then on. I would say that vodka is the first hard liquor I was introduced to. New Amsterdam I had, which was pretty bad, but I grew a fondness for Grey Goose, which is like one of my favorite vodkas today. A little bit pricey though, but yeah. Georgie is also a cheap vodka brand that I would see often used in a lot of frat parties at my college. I would say that when it comes to buying vodka, the high quality ones aren't as worth it, because the whole point of vodka is to be flavorless as possible. So the mid-tier and some low-tier ones would pretty much taste the same for the most part. So now we got whiskey, the #1 favorite spirit of America.
Oh yeah!
I remember a lot of college kids would just chug Fireball or like buy one of the more high-end ones like Jameson or Jack Daniels. Like Jameson is like $40 to $60, like it's crazy. The whiskey is made from a fermented grain mash of corn, wheat, rye, oats, barley. You got your Irish, Scotch, bourbon, rye, Tennessee, whiskeys, you know, a lot of different types. And obviously they're specific to their location, like bourbon only comes from Kentucky, and Scotch whiskey only comes from Scotland. So fun fact, Irish and Americans spell whiskey with the E, but the Scots and Canadians spell whiskey without the E. In the US, straight whiskey must be made with 51% of a single kind of grain and aged no less than 2 years in a barrel. So basically there's a lot to talk about whiskey. There's a lot of varieties. There's something called single malt or single grain, which basically means that only one distillery is involved in making it. And then you have something called blended malt or blended grain whiskey, which basically means that 2 or more distilleries is involved in making it. Wine, easy on the tongue, wait, that sounds wrong, and sophisticated in any professional settings or family gatherings. So wine goes way back in the 1100 BCs, and with the Phoenicians and the Greeks, the nectar of the gods, as they like to call it. Wine is basically just made from fermented grapes. You got your sparkling wine, you got your fortified wine, you got your still wine, and you got your aromatic wine. So I never actually tried white wine before, but what I can tell you from Wikipedia is that red wine is more bitter and complex, and white wine is more sweet and fruitier too. Sake is known as rice wine, but it's actually a type of beer. Ooh. Sake is a fermented rice that comes from Japan and has its own process separate from that of beer. And that the conversion from starch to sugar and then sugar to alcohol occurs at the same time rather than two different steps. You got these different types of sakes, which is just too difficult to pronounce, and I'm not even gonna bother trying because I'm not gonna try. I think that the best way to describe soju is a sweeter, less aggressive flavor of vodka. So basically when you have a couple of drinks of soju, it slowly kicks up and then you end up on the floor hungover. And you're like, what the heck? What the frick just happened? It's distilled from grains, although many modern producers replace the rice with potatoes. Soju is very popular among the Asian community, especially in Queens, like Flushing, Queens, where I see soju in basically every single bar or restaurant. Transition. Where's the camera? The camera's here. I'm still functioning. Man. I had a lot of fun. It was definitely an experience. Leave down in the comments down below if you'd like to see me do cocktails or anything specific about spirits, because man, I love spirits a lot and I've been trying to learn more about it and what's your favorite type of spirit and all that. I'm definitely gonna go take a nap, but I had a lot of fun doing this. Thank you all for watching. I really appreciate you supporting me and reaching 100 plus subscribers, and it's been really fun this summer. I literally didn't think I would do anything this summer, but YouTube really gave me something to do and kind of pass the time. So I really appreciate it a lot. Thank you so much, and hope to see you soon.